Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And today I'm going to show you how to make your own hand crocheted flower. Now there's several different flower patterns and ways that you can do it. And today I'll just show you one, but I'm going to also try to explain several different ways you can do it. And I will be doing the 2-layered rose today. Now, if you are new to crocheting and you want to learn the basics, I recommend you start with that first. I do have a series out there of the very basics of crocheting. It's my Crochet 101 series. I'm going to go ahead and link to it right up here so you can check that out, because it's really important you learn how to do the magic circle, single crochets, and your chain stitches before you go, and also your double crochets, and I go over all of those in that whole series. So check that out first, and then you can come back and learn how to do the rose. So let's get started. Okay, so right here are a couple of hangers that I did, and I talked about this in my last This and That video, or one of my This and That videos. And these, I just have a 6 petaled flowers on these, and I did them both a little bit, I did them each a little bit different from each other. And I will be doing a video, a separate one, on how to crochet over the hanger itself, but I wanted to start with just the rose. So I'm going to be crocheting over this hanger in the next video, crochet video I do, using the dark green. And what I want to put on it is a red rose, because it's going to go with the skirt that you saw me wear in the when we went to the homesteading fair. I'll go ahead and link to that video right up here. Okay, so as I said, there's several different ways to do your flower. Now, since I'm doing a double layered rose, I'm going to have to do it differently than I did these ones here. So I'm going to start off with my magic circle. I wrap this around. Again, I recommend you go watch the video on how to make a magic circle, because I'm not going to break it down a whole lot here. I will show you slowly, just in case you're new. So I slip under this one, I grab this one and pull up a loop, then I come over the top, grab some more yarn, and there's a chain stitch. Now I'm going to go under and make a single crochet, and then I can let go of the whole thing and it will hold. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull this a little bit and go ahead and make 6 single crochets into the circle. You know, it seems like every time I get outside, people decide to start flying their planes right over our house. If it's not them, then it's the military and their jets, as you may have heard in one of my other outside videos. And it kept happening again. The pineapple weed one, oh my goodness, I had to keep stopping and starting over because they kept flying over every time. Finally, I gave up and just tried to talk loud. So I hope you guys could hear me okay. Okay, so anyway, there's my 6 single crochets. I slip stitch into the first single crochet made. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 4. And what that counts as is my first double crochet and a chain 1. Now if I was doing, I could use this for the single layer flower, but I could also do, instead of doing it this way, I could do just a chain 3. I would do 12 single crochets in here, do a chain 3, skip this next single crochet, slip stitch or single crochet, however you want to do it, into the next one. I would say slip stitch for this, and then around. And then you would end up with 6 loops, making sure again that you would have had 12 single crochets instead of just 6. But because I'm doing it this way and I only want 6 petals, if you want 8, you're going to have to go more, so you would have to go 8 stitches in here into the circle. So each one of these stitches in your magic circle, when you're doing it this way, is going to represent how many petals you have on your first layer of your flower. Okay, so now in each single crochet, I'm going to do a double crochet plus a chain 1 in each one around. Like that. You see how that's coming together? And so I should end up with a total of 6 double crochets and 6 chain 1 spaces. 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 6 double crochets and 6 chain pull that magic circle, pull it tight, pull that tail of it tight. And now you're going to slip stitch into the third chain of that first chain that you made, which is your first double crochet. Okay, so now that I'm here, I've done my slip stitch, I've connected my round. I'm going to do a chain 1 and now 3 double crochets into each chain 1 space. Now if you don't know how to do a double crochet, I recommend you go back and again and watch my video showing how to do the double crochet. Now I'm going to do another chain 1 and slip stitch into the double crochet of that first round, or second round actually. Okay, and now chain 1 and again 3 double crochets into the space, chain 1 and slip stitch into that first, into the double crochet of the last round. Okay, now I'm going to continue this around until I've got 6 petals made. Okay, so I just completed my petal, so I'm going to go down here and slip stitch my 6th petal into that double crochet of the last round made. Okay, I hope that's not too dark. I'm trying to get a little bit of sun without burning up here. Now the next thing I'm going to do to get started on the next round is I want to do a post stitch. I'm going to do a back post stitch. What that means is I'm going to go down, go from behind the work, stick my hook around the post of that double crochet of the round down, and I'm going to slip stitch into it. Okay, now I haven't shown this particular stitch in another video, so I'm going to do this a little slower and show you again. Okay, so I go from the back of the work, I take my hook and go around from the back across the front and back into the back so I can grab that yarn and then pull it through like that. And I just made a slip stitch around. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my first double crochet, which is in this case is the chain 3, and this time I'm going to do 2 extra chains. So what you're going to have is a double crochet, actually do 3 extra chains, double crochet and 3 chains, doing that post stitch around. So now the next one's going to be a little bit different because I'm not going to slip stitch. I'm actually going to do that double crochet, a back post double crochet right around that. So I see how that works. If you know how to do a double crochet, you can see how that's coming together. Then chain 3, and again, try to show this a few times so you can see it. Around the post, from the back, across the front. Again, this is called a back post double crochet or a back post stitch, depending on what kind of stitch you're using. These can also be done from the front, and I'll show that in another video what front post double crochets or crochets are for. That's more for adding texture, but this has a different purpose. This isn't about adding texture. You're having to do it from the back because that's what's going to look best. Okay, and then I'm just going to complete this out until I have, okay, and that's it. I've got my 6. So what I should have is 6 chain 3 spaces. So again, I'm going to slip stitch at the top of that first double crochet made, which is actually the 3rd chain of that starting stitch. Okay, so now I'm repeating the same idea I did here, except I'm going to increase the amount of stitches. So I do a chain 1, and then I'm going to do 5. You can do 5, 6, or 7 double crochets. Let's try 5 and see how it looks. Okay, and then the chain 1. Now the more stitches you do in each space, the more roughly your flower is going to look, so it'll look even more rose-like. So let's look at, that's what it looks like with 5. Let's look at it with 7. typically you think odd numbers when you're going to do something like this. Okay, chain 1 and 7. I think I like the 7 better. It's just going to give it a more rose-like look. It just depends on how flat you want it to be. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, and then you're going to repeat that around. Now I'll go ahead and finish this out. Before I do, I want to show you here. Now here I did things a little more tightly and added more stitches in each one, so you can see it kind of has an overlapping effect here, like this. Whereas this one here is just, well, this one, no, I did the same thing on this one. But if you do less stitches, you'll just have a flatter flower. It just really depends on what you're looking for. Okay, so now let me complete this out. Now, it's not that you have to do odd numbers if you're doing a flower. As long as you're not going to needing to connect anything to the center of it, you can do even numbers. But typically, when anytime you're doing a shell stitch in, let's say, an afghan or anything like that, or a sweater, you have to have odd numbers, because typically what you're doing is you're needing to work right at the center. Well, if you don't have a stitch in the center, you can't do that unless you've made a chain stitch. Some of you will know what I'm talking about, and in future videos, as I do some more advanced things, I will explain that better so I can show you what I'm talking about. Because I've crocheted everything from blankets to sweaters. I have quite a, you never see me wear them because they're too nice for me to wear for doing chores and stuff, but I've made myself a good number of sweaters. I just need to find something, you know, where I want to dress up a little fancier so I can start wearing my sweaters again. Because they're comfy and they're pretty, and I always get lots of compliments on them. Okay, so that is the last of that. So I'm going to do a slip stitch there to join. That's at the top of that first double crochet made. And there you have your double layered rows. Now you can keep going with this if you want and do a triple layer rows. And you would just do the same idea. You would do a back post stitch around here, increasing the amount of chain. So I'd go on the next one, I'd go 5 chains, do 9, 10, or 11 stitches in that one around, and then you can have a real big flower. It just depends on the use. Okay, so I'm just going to snip this yarn off. I want to leave some tails on here because that's what I'm going to be using to tie on and work onto the hanger. So it'll go on this hanger here like this. Now what you can do is I could have continued around and added another row with the red like this, and instead of doing another row of petals, I could do a row of leaves. So, but you'd want to use, because you're doing the back post stitch and it's going to show through on this side, you want to, that foundation row for the leaves, you still want it to be your flower color. And then you can take your green and make yourself some petals. There's a couple of ways to do that, and you can see I make some leaves, and you can see right here I made a couple of leaves behind this flower here. I didn't go all the way around. If you're going to go all the way around, then you can put a leaf in each one, or you can just do a leaf in every other one, however you want to do it. I only did 2 and then just finished it off like that because that's all I wanted. And maybe in some other videos I'll show you some ways that you can make a leaf pattern. There's a couple different ways, just like flowers. There's so many different ways you can do it. Okay, now another way that you can make a petal, if you don't want the rose look, but you want something that looks maybe more like a hibiscus or something, you can, first of all, let me just make a quick circle here so I have something to crochet into, because I'm not going to do a whole flower. Okay. So the way you can do this is start by doing a half double crochet, a double crochet. I'm just working one petal right now. Okay, and then a triple or treble crochet. You wrap the yarn twice, bring up that loop and go through 2 loops 3 times. Okay, and then at the top of that triple crochet, you're going to do a chain 3, which is going to be a picot, and then you just slip stitch there, and then you'll have kind of a little point. Now you finish out your petal by doing another double crochet, and then a half double. And then you would move on doing your slip stitch or whatever. And what that's going to give you then is a pointed petal, like so. So your rose pattern is just it's a really good one to have on hand because you can add it to so many things. Like I said, you can put it on hats. I've made lots of hats with the bigger flower on top, just like I've made lots of leg warmers. Back when I used to teach dance, teach ballet, and I'd make leg warmers and the kids would buy them from me. And I would put usually even smaller flowers than this at the top of the leg warmer just to add some cute factor to it. And lots of different things you can use those roses for accents. They're really fun. They just, you know, add a little pizzazz to stuff. I've even seen people do pillows with a big old rose right in the middle. Just a lot of really fun stuff you can do with those roses. So it's a good thing to have. So be watching, and I'll be doing another video. I'll either shoot it today or tomorrow, but it will probably be several videos away from this when I show how to do the hanger and then attaching the flower. It is kind of nice. You'll see why it's kind of nice to have that flower or some kind of accent to put at the top of the hanger. Besides, it just looks pretty, you know. So us ladies, sometimes we just like things to be pretty, even if they're just going to hang in our closet and nobody else sees them. We're funny that way, aren't we? Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something new. Thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.